In today's video, we are going to explore Zemo OS, a modern and beginner-friendly operating system that can turn almost any computer into a powerful home server. Whether you are testing it inside a virtual machine, running it on a regular PC, or even bringing an old laptop back to life, Zemo OS offers a smooth and simple experience that just works without unnecessary complexity. But things get even more interesting when Zemo OS is paired with dedicated hardware like ZimaBoard 2 or ZimaCube. These compact mini-server solutions are specifically designed to work seamlessly with Zemo OS, making it much easier to build a clean, powerful, and flexible home lab setup. So in this video, we will not only learn how Zemo OS works, but also see how it performs in real-world usage. Interested? Let's get started. Zemo OS comes pre-installed on ZimaBoard 2 and ZimaCube. But if you want to use it on your own system, you can download it for free from the link in the video description. Once you've downloaded and installed Zemo OS, power on your server, the IP address will appear on the screen within a few seconds. Note it down, then open a web browser on your Mac or Windows computer, and enter that same IP address into the address bar to proceed. As soon as you hit enter, the login screen will instantly appear in front of you. Now let me show you how simple the setup process is. Here, you just need to accept the terms and conditions, and click on this arrow button to continue. Now, you'll need to create your account on the server. Simply enter your desired username and set a strong password. And that's it, we have successfully created our account on the server. If you want, you can save this password in your browser for future use. From here, you have multiple options. You can start directly from Files, go to the App Store, or jump straight into the dashboard. Personally, I prefer going to the dashboard. On the next screen, you'll see an option to download a companion application for better connectivity between your server and your local computer. For now, simply click on Next. If you're using macOS or Windows, it will automatically download the relevant software for your system. You can install it later to establish a more stable and flexible connection between your server and your computer. Now we have successfully landed on the dashboard. Let me switch my browser into full screen so we can focus better and understand everything more clearly. The Zemo OS interface is extremely clean and closely resembles macOS. This section works just like the launchpad in macOS. On the left-hand side, we have widgets, very similar to macOS widgets. If you scroll down, you can easily enable or disable any widget. For example, if I want to turn off the network widget, I can simply toggle it off. Similarly, I can turn off or turn back on the storage widget using the same toggle. Like Launchpad on Mac, you can simply drag and drop any app icon to rearrange its position. Now before diving into each app, let's quickly understand what we have here. App Store, for installing applications. Files, it's similar to macOS Finder or Windows File Explorer. Backup, similar to Time Machine. ZVM, it's a virtual machine, like Parallels Desktop, but free. PeerDrop, it works like AirDrop or nearby sharing. Settings, it works similarly to system settings on macOS. Community, for help and discussions. Now let's explore each of these in detail. Let's start with settings. Just like macOS system settings, this is where you can control almost everything on your server. The General tab is self-explanatory. It contains your server's basic information. At the top of this section, you'll see something very similar to About This Mac. You can call it something like About This Server. Here, you can check your device's serial number, CPU, RAM, GPU, and operating system information. Right now, I'm running Zemo OS version 1.5 on a ZimaBoard 2. If you're not happy with the default wallpaper, you can easily change it. Click on Change Wallpaper. You'll find both light and dark wallpapers, just like macOS. If you want to use your own wallpaper, simply click Upload. Browse your file from your Mac or Windows computer, select it, click Open, and then click Apply. Your wallpaper will instantly change. From the General section, you can change your language, adjust the time zone, and modify the time format as well. If you're not happy with the default search engine, which is DuckDuckGo, you can change it to anything you prefer. If you scroll all the way down, you'll also find a reset option here. We'll talk about that later. There's also a developer mode section, which is quite powerful. You can enable or disable advanced options based on your needs. Now let's move to the storage tab. Here, you can see your internal storage usage, similar to macOS storage view style. Below that, if you've connected external drives, like I have, you can click on the Start button to initialize them. If you have 2 or more drives connected, you'll get the option to use them separately, or combine them. I'm going to choose the Combine option. Now you'll see multiple RAID configurations. I'll select RAID 0, but you can choose according to your needs. On the next screen, select the drives you want to combine, and click Next. Now give your combined storage a name. Please note, this process will format all selected drives. So if you have important data, make sure to back it up first, otherwise, it will be lost. Now click on Create. Within a few seconds, your drives will be successfully combined, and you'll receive a notification. Now your new storage is ready to use. In the Network section, you can view your Ethernet connection, virtual networks, and remote access details. In the Apps section, you can decide where your installed apps should store their data, whether on internal storage or external drives. From here, you can also migrate your app data from one drive to another. At the top, you'll see your username. If you click on it, you'll find several useful options. From here, you can change your password. Simply enter your old password, set a new one, and click Save. You can also change your profile picture. Just click on Upload. Browse your image. Select it, click Open, and then click Apply, and you're done. You can also create a sub-account. Click on Add Folder. Select the folder you want to share. Set the permissions, and click Next. Then, create a username and password for that sub-account. And that's it, your new user is ready. Now let's move to the App Store. As the name suggests, this is a place where you can install apps for your server, similar to the Apple App Store and Microsoft Store. Here, you can either search for apps using the search bar, or scroll down and browse manually. Once you find your desired app, simply click on Install. The app will immediately start downloading and installing on your server. By the way, there's one small thing I forgot to mention here. If those messages at the bottom feel distracting, you can turn them off in just a few steps. Open the Settings app, make sure the General tab is selected. Then scroll down, and simply disable the newsfeed from here. That's it, a cleaner distraction-free interface. Now let's explore the Files app. This works exactly like Finder on macOS or File Explorer on Windows. This is your main display area, and this is the sidebar. Right now, we are inside the Home folder. Just like macOS, you'll see important folders like App Data, Backups, Documents, Downloads, Gallery, Media. If we open Media, you'll see subfolders like TV shows, music, and movies. All of this shows that it's a well-organized operating system, with all the features you'd expect from a modern OS. And yes, you can quickly jump between locations using the sidebar. Now let's see how to upload files manually. First, I'll select my external storage, so my internal drive doesn't fill up quickly. You can simply drag and drop any file here to upload it. Or, you can click on the Upload button, top arrow icon, and select Files manually. You can also move files between drives. For example, I have a Windows 11 file in my internal Downloads folder. First, I can click on these 3 dots and select Get Info to check the file size. As you can see, it's a 7.74 GB file. To move it, make sure the file is selected, then click the cut icon in the top bar. Go to External Drive. Click Paste, the file will instantly move. You can also do this using right-click. Just like on macOS or Windows, you can do the same using a right-click. First, right-click and create a new folder. Then, right-click on the file and select Cut. Go to the destination folder. Then right-click and choose Paste. It's that simple. Now let's set up a time machine backup for your Mac. To use your ZimaBoard 2 as a time capsule, first, create a new folder in your server. I'll name it Time Machine. Right-click on it and enable SMB sharing. Turn on Time Machine support, then click Create. Now switch to your Mac. Open Time Machine, and select Backup Disk. You'll see your newly created Time Machine here. Select it, click Use Disk, and enter your server username and password. Click Connect. And that's it, your server is now working as a time capsule. If you want to stop backups, go back to Server. Right-click the folder. Click Manage SMB Share. Click Stop Sharing. Confirm, Done. Now let's move on to the Backup app. As I mentioned earlier, it works quite similar to Time Machine, but it's actually far more powerful. The key reason behind that is its flexibility. It allows you to back up data from multiple locations into a single destination, either manually or automatically. One of its biggest strengths is the wide range of supported locations. When selecting a source, you have plenty of options. For instance, if you choose cloud storage, you can easily connect services like Google Drive, Dropbox, or OneDrive. Apart from cloud services, you can also select local storage, USB drives connected to your server, or even internal and external storage available on your system. Essentially, any data source accessible within your server environment can be selected. Once you've chosen your source, the next step is selecting the destination, and here again, you get the same level of flexibility. You can back up your data to the cloud, local storage, a connected USB drive, or your Zima storage. This opens up powerful workflows, like backing up data from the cloud to a hard drive, or from a hard drive back to the cloud, either manually or automatically. For example, if I want to copy data from my Google Drive, the first step would be to connect my Google account to the ZimaOS system. Once connected, I can browse through my files. Let's say I select a folder called Sierra. After that, I simply define the destination where I want this data to be stored. This could be another cloud service, local storage, a USB device connected to the ZimaBoard 2, or any available Zima storage location. Once both the source and destination are set, I just confirm the setup. At this point, I'm also given two options. I can either run the backup automatically or manage it manually. In this case, I'll leave it on automatic. As soon as I click the Confirm button, the system starts the backup process and begins transferring data from one location to another. Now let's move to ZVM, one of the most powerful features. Here, you can install operating systems like Windows 10, Windows 11, or Linux. The process is very simple. First, download your preferred operating system. Once it's ready, you can install it in just a few clicks. But in this case, I won't be installing Windows 11 from here, because the available version is a bit older. Instead, we'll install the latest version of Windows 11 on the ZimaBoard 2, and this mini server can handle it, because it comes with a modern Core i5 processor and 16 GB of RAM, which is more than enough to run it smoothly. And the best part is, ZVM also lets you install using a custom ISO file. All you need to do is upload your custom ISO from your computer to the server, just like we showed earlier. Then click Custom Install. Now select your ISO file. Choose where you want to store your virtual machine. I'll use an external drive for extra space. Set your disk size. If needed, go into Advanced Settings to adjust CPU cores, RAM, or firmware. Then click Create. When you see, press any key to boot from CD or DVD. First click inside the black window, then press any key. If you don't click inside first, you'll get an error. If that happens, just restart ZVM. Click inside the window, and press any key. After that, the installation will start normally, just like on a regular PC. And as you can see, the latest version of Windows 11 is successfully installed on my ZimaBoard 2 without a single error or restriction. Finally, let's talk about PeerDrop. As I mentioned earlier, it works just like AirDrop, but it's even more powerful. It offers better range and doesn't rely strictly on Bluetooth or Apple ecosystem. Now let's take a look at how you can delete and uninstall apps on ZimaBoard 2. Just like macOS, ZimaBoard 2 also gives you control over your apps, but with a clear distinction. Some apps can be fully uninstalled, some can only be deleted, and others, specifically system apps, cannot be removed at all. Here's how it works. When you move your cursor over any app, you'll notice 3 dots appearing on the app icon. However, this only applies to apps that you have installed manually. The built-in system apps that come with the ZimaBoard 2 operating system will not show these 3 dots, meaning they cannot be uninstalled. For apps that do show the 3 dots, simply click on them and you'll see an uninstall option. Clicking this allows you to completely remove the app from your system. Now, there's another category to be aware of. Some internal or built-in apps, like the Icewell Community app, may not give you the option to uninstall them, but they can still be deleted. So overall, ZimaBoard 2 gives you flexible control. You can uninstall manually installed apps, delete certain built-in apps, and keep essential system apps protected from accidental removal. Now, let's move on to something equally important: how to reset your server. There can be many reasons why you might want to reset your ZimaBoard 2 server. For example, you might be planning to move to ZimaCube, upgrade your setup, or simply want to restore your system and start fresh. Whatever the reason, the reset process is straightforward. To begin, go to your settings, and make sure you are in the General tab. Once you're there, scroll down, and you will find the Reset option. When you click on Reset, it's important to understand what exactly will and will not be affected. The following will be reset: your user accounts, all installed applications, your system settings. However, the following will not be reset: your storage data, your arrays, your user files, your app data files. These will remain intact, which means if you want to completely clean everything, you'll need to manually delete those files yourself. To proceed with the reset, you will be required to enter your server password. Without the correct password, the reset process cannot be completed. Once you enter the password and click on the reset button, the system will begin the reset process. After completion, your server will restart and present you with a fresh welcome screen, just like a brand new setup and ready for a clean start.